Hi, welcome everyone to Coleman Report Live, June 3rd edition. My name is Joseph Coleman. I'm replacing Bob today. He is out. We have Lance Sexton, our Coleman faculty instructor, and our editor, Katie Watucky. Today we're talking about hospitality. So we pivoted and we're not going to get much information from DC, from SBA, or the congressional legislative side. So we're giving you guys some of our really good stats. Katie put together some excellent reporting, and then we're giving you exclusively our own data. And Lance is here to be the adult in the room and give us some more guidance on that. So we have a couple poll questions. What is your activity like in hospitality? And this is for the last 3 years, so we're not going to focus just on the last 6 months, but we'll go back long enough to get a good idea on who's on the line.
Well, and I would think, Joe, that quite a few of the people on the line have been active in the hospitality industry over the past 3 years. I think a question that I would love to ask them is, what's your stance going forward with hospitality? Yeah. You know, is this one of those NAICS no-nos that you're going to be looking at going forward?
And it looks like a pretty novice crowd compared to some. I think some of the bigger lenders focus on hospitality, but we have Lance. You've done a ton of hotel loans, so you'll be able to give some of our newbies some direction. The second question is on franchise. What performs better, franchise or non-flagged mom and pops?
Well, that's a tough one because you can certainly elevate examples of independently run hotels that perform better, but you know, my experience, Joe, as a whole, the franchise hotel operations perform better.
Absolutely, yeah, you guys nailed it. We'll go through the statistics. We've included the NAICS data, and we'll cover that in a bit. But you are right, franchise resoundingly is a better loan, or I guess not a better loan, but more the charge-off data is a little bit more predictable. And the third is what performs better, 504 or 7A?
You know, I don't know that there's a big difference, but I think there'll be a lot of 504 responses here, Joe, because the nature of hotel lending has gotten to where the size of the projects are big enough that they may need a 504 loan to get them done.
Yeah, and the answer is pretty much the same. I mean, 7A has a slightly better rate, but we'll go over that. Both of them are such good. Since the recession, hotel lending has been such a good part of your portfolio. But let's get into the numbers, and this is a more of a sobering slide. And Katie, you're gonna cover this. Go ahead. What do you find out on hotels going on in 2020?
Right, so I put together just these little bullet points about what's kind of going on right now. This is mostly recently updated on May 28th. So most of this is very recent, just within a week here. Leisure and hospitality industry has been hit the hardest by the health crisis, with one of the largest 1 month net decline in payroll of the top 14 industries. That's from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. As of May 28th, nearly 6 out of 10 open hotel rooms were empty across the country. And that's in addition to thousands of hotels that have had to close permanently or temporarily due to the crisis. Since the public health crisis began escalating in February, U.S. hotels have already lost more than $29 billion in room revenues, and 70% of hotel employees have been laid off or furloughed. Nearly 1.6 million hotel employees are out of work, and $2.4 billion are lost on a weekly basis due to this crisis. 33,000 small business hotels are in immediate risk of permanent closure right now, and the impact to travel so far has been about 9 times worse than 9/11.
Yeah, staggering numbers, but I mean, that's not really new news compared to what we've been watching for the last 2 months. This is really what, this is an incredible graph, Katie, I gotta admit. I mean, this is just clear as day of what the reality is right now for the hotel.
This is from STR, which is a hotel industry analysts company. They look at how hotels are doing. They'll look at occupancy rates, and they'll let the industry know how they can improve and things like that. This is the projected for 2020, far lower than, this is going back to 2010. And like I just said, this is impacting more than several recessions that I've lived through, and even some that, Lance has lived through, and Joseph's lived through. I'm a little too young for them. So it is staggering seeing this.
I think the impact is pretty amazing. And I stayed in a hotel about 4 days ago, and I was the only person, and it was a flag hotel, and I was the only person on the floor that I was staying at.
You get your own suite, your own private, yeah.
50 rooms.
Let's go into what I'm sorry, I forgot these graphs as well. This is incredible. I mean, you see the one on the left is after 9/11, the recession of 10 years ago, and then this is currently our June 2020. I mean, Katie, this is just what you've been talking about, and it's an incredible graph.
Right. I think just part of the reason I wanted to include this was just so people realize that this isn't the exact same thing as the recession. Looking at these lines, they're not identical. So it's going to be a little bit different moving forward than what it was during the past recessions.
This is what go ahead, Lance.
I just take my personal example as, my hotel usage during the 2008, 2009, 2010 didn't change at all. Not one bit. But, and I'm inclined to want to go somewhere. Before we started the show, I told both of you, I'm ready to travel. But in the last 3 months, I've had one night in a hotel, which is really out of the ordinary.
We increased our efforts for travel during the recession. I remember, because SBA lending was the only industry that was providing capital to Main Street. So we were traveling a lot then, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And this is what the industry wants. This is AHOA and the hotel. The lobbyists got together and put together their talking points. I've included the letter to Congress that they have. It's a lot of the same things that all the SBA lenders have been asking for, with the PPP extensions through December, the forgiveness period extended to 24 weeks. The thing that caught my attention at the end is the incentivized travel and tourism. We were talking about that before the show and just a minute ago, Lance. I mean, it's an incredibly difficult situation to incentivize tourism. What do you see happening in the last 6 months of 2020? I mean,
I honestly, Joe, think once the COVID-19 pandemic settles down, there's going to be this incredible pent-up demand for travel. Everyone I've talked to has said, hey, I'm ready to go somewhere. Same thing with me. I find myself at night getting on my American Airlines and Delta Airlines vacation sites, looking at potential vacations to take. I told you guys before we started, I'd love to go to the Caribbean right now, but nothing's open. So I think there's going to be a lot of pent-up demand for travel. The question is, do the people have the resources to travel? We've got such a high unemployment rate right now. Those people were travelers as well. So I do believe there'll be a push for travel, but I think it's going to be a year, maybe 2 years before the hotel industry gets back to those 68% occupancy rates that we saw pre-COVID-19.
Let's talk about some of the opportunities maybe. This is the top 10 franchise list for 7A, and this is over a decade. If you want any further information, we published our franchise report. And this is 504. So again, if you have any further questions on that, just give me an email. But this is what I really wanted to talk about, Lance, is how low historically for the last decade, and this is including 2010 and some of the bad years, the charge-off and the charge-off percentage by number and by dollar is incredibly low. I mean, it's historically been a good level. So.
Oh, and franchise and hotel lending, it's been a strong performing category in SBA lending, Joe, and Katie. But right now, we're not seeing defaults because everybody's getting payments made by SBA. The question is, that started in April, so you got May, June, July, August, September. What happens in October? We need people to be traveling. We need to be back to whatever the new normal is in time once those payments were out, because if they're still at 38% occupancy, there are going to be a significant number of defaults across the country in this industry, especially anything in the NAICS codes that start with 72. They're all at risk. I'm not projecting that. I'm hopeful that, at the end of the 6-month period, things will be opened back up and these businesses will be getting back closer to normal. But I do encourage everybody that's on the call, make sure get training in proper servicing and liquidation skill sets, just so you're ready. If we're still closed, pretty much closed down and travel doesn't come back, there's going to be some servicing and liquidation issues to deal with latter part of 2020, early part of 2021.
Yeah, you guys talked about restaurants yesterday, which was an amazing discussion, but restaurants still have, curbside pickup, and they're not completely shut down like hotels are.
There are a lot of restaurants, any restaurant that's got an app. We talked about this, Joe. Bob and I, of course, we do the restaurant industry webinar once a year, and we were talking about how restaurant apps and curbside delivery and drive-through windows are the most important components of a restaurant going forward. So many of them, there are several examples of restaurants that have actually flourished during this pandemic. So it's not all as bad in industry, and you as an SBA lender can't immediately say, whoa, a hotel, I can't touch it, or whoa, a restaurant, I can't touch it. But it does require looking harder at those kind of projects when you're considering them for an SBA loan.
Yeah, especially with these numbers, the charge-off is so low for 7A and 504. It's just, Katie's reporting earlier, it's just, that type of situation. So this is becoming a more and more popular outsourcing your forgiveness, which we're doing tomorrow. You can sign up by sending me a quick email. I will provide the link. An email went out this morning. It's a free webinar co-sponsored with BoFi and Coleman, and it's getting more and more popular, Lance. I mean, the numbers are staggering. Next week, we're going to do your servicing your SBA PPP, and 7A and 504 is included in that. Send me an email if you want to register for any of these. I know you're excited for your 60 days just to get back to a 7A.
Guys,
traditional
June
webinar.
The 17th, yeah. I'm sorry, Joe. June the 17th is a big day, not just because it's a non-PPP, but the reality is we're going to need the skills to understand what to do with an SBA loan that is challenged. So it's a very timely offering. So, guys, if you need those skills, sign up.
Oh, before we get off, we have one question. What is a gross loan payment confirmation report? Due date June 10th, and where is the report found? You know what that is, Lance? Gross loan payment confirmation report. It looks like I'm stumping you. All right, I'll track that down, Lou.
That has to be related to the 11. It has to be related to the 6 months payments. The report that you send in for the 6 months payments. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm not sure on the answer. I'm not sure on the answer.
That's the 1112 report, the 1112 report. Thank you, Julie. And another question, what would an independent contractor provide as proof of payroll?
I would say a 2-month income statement, because an independent contractor typically payroll was calculated from a 1099 or calculated from a Schedule C in a lot of circumstances. So a financial statement might be the best source.
We look forward to having John Riosti on tomorrow. I don't think there's going to be many legislative updates. We'll track them. Katie always does a great job at that. Once again, we provided you a lot of information, but if you do want to order the franchise report, just send me an email and I'll send it over to you. Lance, again, thank you for giving your perspective. Katie, great reporting on the hotels. And we'll see you guys tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern. Appreciate it, everyone being on. Thank you.
Have a great afternoon.
Take care.